up and keep it clean. It was a message stated along the walls of Tripoli. Now we can see this message is for the Libyan people and also for the many revolution militia. Because of the fact that there has been a constant violence among the Libyan people in overthrowing the regime, we can see that now that the people are calling for peace among the people. Which leads me to the question today, what should happen to Gaddafi? Now the answer to this question is that Gaddafi should be tried in the International Criminal Court system because of the following three reasons. One, that there is a great call for peace in Libya. Two, that the Libyan people want a fresh start. And three, the reason why he should be tried in the International Court system is because that in Libya itself is not safe for him to be tried in. Now to my first point of how Gaddafi should, there is a call for peace. Now the Prime Minister, Jabari, has already stated among the people to call for peace that the greatest and the hardest thing for the Libyan people would be to forgive and to reconcile for the future, as stated by The Economist dated September 10, 2011. The greatest and hardest thing is to forgive and reconcile after 42 years of constant tyranny by Gaddafi. Now we can see that there are many people who don't want to forgive and don't want to reconcile, but we can see that there's also a great number of people who want to forgive and reconcile, as the new National Transitional Council have already stated that they do not want to continue fighting, they don't want to shed more blood than they already have. So we can see that from all the examples, there is a fact that there is a huge call for peace and that Gaddafi should be tried through a more just system, as now Libya is moving from a dictatorship to a more democratic government. Which leads me to my second point of how Libya should start with a fresh start. Now we can see that with every revolution, there's two ways the country can go through. One, they can go through a peaceful transition, or two, they can go on to a more bloody path, as for example in history we have seen with the French Revolution, of how right after overthrowing King Louis XVI, there was a great period of era where there was constant bloodshed of killing the aristocrats as well as the members of the council who were supporting King Louis, and also within the monarchy. Which is, we can see example, which can be transitioned to today's time, of how many of the council members who used to support or used to work for Gaddafi in the council are constantly nervous that should the new regime be thrown over and this new transitional council be on top, would their lives be in danger. And now another example of how the reason why Libya should start with a fresh start is that many of the Libyan people are wanting a peaceful transition, to not have this violence continue, to have this peaceful transition of this tyranny to a more democratic transitional council. As we can see that the National Transitional Council are constantly calling for, or rebuilding its government, to rebuild its judicial system, to take control of the government and to change the way that it has been ruled. Which leads me to my third point of how that Gaddafi should be tried in the International Criminal Court system. One, we can see that in Libya, they're currently rebuilding their government, so their judicial system currently does not really exist, though it does exist, but then they have to change it because of the way that Gaddafi has structured the judicial system to fit his purposes. He must now change it to a more democratic way. Now, the second reason why he should be tried in the International Court system is that the people there will be a spark in violence in Libya and among the people, as there are people who are calling out for the blood of Gaddafi, primarily within the Islamist group who were imprisoned during Gaddafi's regime, as well as those family members who were killed and tortured throughout the regime. So the fact that should Gaddafi move back into Libya, there will be a great spark in violence, as people will want to retaliate against him to have their revenge that they couldn't have before. And three, he should be tried in the International Criminal Court system because of the fact that they example of Egypt of how after they have won their freedom, they, instead of killing off their dictator, they let him live and let him go through trial in order to state his punishment. So therefore, Libya should follow Egypt's example of having the people having a more democratic way of dealing with their dictatorship instead of killing him off as many of the Islamic group wanted. So for the preceding reasons of one, there's a great call of wanting peace. Two, that Libya should start with a new or fresh start. And three, the international court system is there to regulate and to provide a more just system. Is the reason why Gaddafi should be tried into the international court system. As we can see in my introduction of how the people have sent the message around in Tripoli, Tripoli, that they want no more vengeance, no more violence, and that they should clean up what they have with a lot of blood and should keep it clean.